They didn't lose anything to dry. Just washed away. A lot of it we found out from neighbors. That's very. Got most of it.
Yep, we're good to go.
Yeah. I'll go around it and go to the side. I know what they say about water. Dry now.
She should be here,
Oh, she'll slide.
as far as I know.
Okay, I guess.
Pretty deep over in the pond. Yeah. You cover all the-
Gloria, we need to vote on these agreements. Okay, just ask them to come up.
Really? Close or not?
No, that's ordinances we're going to vote on tonight.
Probably Ryan, mine's with me, yeah, one is in the fire department's choice.
How long did it? How long did it? I've never seen that before.
Looks like it.
I don't understand how it gets done. I haven't heard you guys say it. Leave it open.
Parking place.
Yeah. Water that, you could have done it over my house. Yeah, up there.
Police department flooded.
Did it really?
I hope so.
I parked out there, but I got here early because Brian's playing baseball out there, which is also why I just barely get here.
Wait a minute, boys. Breaks that, mummy, they broke it.
And out watching him play baseball.
It's home run, we'll hear the crowd go wild.
You're like, what happened?
Don't tell mommy I didn't do anything.
They did really, really well. They got the rollers out there, this room just right.
Women didn't have any showing up here. So, I don't know, man, it's running. That's right here. Right here. That's the part. Thing that I don't know about.
This thing?
Yeah. No, that's his.
Okay, it's 6:30. We'll get started. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, have the board members had a chance to review the minutes of the May 12th meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I will make the motion to approve them.
Got a motion by Jenny, seconded by Russell. All those in favor indicate by saying aye, please. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Go, sir. Okay, next item on the agenda is the adjustments, payroll vouchers, and monthly bills. So there'll be lots of shuffling here. There's 6 of them. There's 4 plus 2 that are quite thick. These were sent via email. Have my members had a chance to look at them? If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve these. So moved. Okay, got a motion from Glenn. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Second from Dolores. All those in favor of approving indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the service contract updates for Kiwanis, the fire department of Main Street. First check I have is here for Main Street. This is $500. Basically, this helps with the floral displays and the cleaning and maintenance that we do downtown from time to time. So Connie, if you come up. Hand that down to Gloria. Thank you. Fire department, this is the first installment of $25,000, be $12,500. Gail or Mike, either one? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
And while you're here,
I was gonna say, is it gonna do?
the other one is the Kiwanis. It's $6,000 and first installment is $3,000 for, and we got evidence of what's going on right out here. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Those are signed, Gloria. Commonwealth, Rachel, come on up.
Not too much of an update tonight. The pipe is all installed. They have finished directional drilling it. They're working on making their final connections, fittings to connect the pieces of pipe that were installed. Then hopefully they'll clean up the area they've been working in, installing the pipe. And they'll continue digging, focusing at the lift station next. So you'll probably see more crews in town over the next couple of weeks if they get some dry weather down at the lift station site. That's the plan.
Carolyn, could you get a couple chairs, please, for the ladies? Thank you.
And no pay request this month, so just an update.
Okay.
And if you guys have the memo, I put a couple of pictures on there just showing the big pipe and
Yeah,
fittings and,
with all this rain, just
yeah, you
fighting
can
it
tell
out in the
it's,
mud.
it's pretty muddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're hoping it would dry up here in June, but so far hasn't.
We could just as easy be crying for rain in July or August.
I know, count our blessings, I guess, and
Yes.
come August, and we'll be the opposite.
Okay, any questions for Rachel on the board?
Thank you.
You bringing goodies Thursday?
I can.
No. I'm just teasing. It's going to be Glenn and I, so I'm just checking on you.
Maybe I'll find some cookies or something.
Okay. SIRPC, grant ladies, come on up. Introduce yourselves. These are ladies from the Southern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, and they're going to tell us what they're doing here.
Hi, I'm Victoria Becker, and this is Kylie Sparks. We met with a few people from the town back in February to discuss a couple of grant projects. So just here to provide an update on both of those. The first one is possibly doing a park plan for Westport, and it is about a 12-month process to really complete the plan. It involves getting public input on what they want to see in parks, getting a lot of feedback, attending events. Hopefully you should have in your packet kind of a timeline. I think the first step that we need to look at is creating a park board. So I do have the requirements on there to do that. And then the hope would be in July to have your attorney look over basically an ordinance to create that park board. So there are specific criteria in here. We're recommending probably 3 board members to work with. And then we would look at getting a community calendar to figure out what events you're already having that we can come to and help get that public feedback. So what we're looking at is possibly submitting the draft of the park plan next November, with the final plan being submitted by April of 2027. So again, a long timeline there, but it gives us plenty of time to get public feedback and attend as many
That is
events
the
as
water
we
tower
can.
improvement. My bad. Carry on.
So that's the park plan. I don't know if there's any specific questions on that.
There we go. There's the park plan. 9 to 12.
No monetary, you don't have a clue what you're looking at as far as the money that,
For our fee,
well, just for whatever it is that you have planned to do as far as with the grants money. Do you have any idea how much the grants would be? Is probably what I want to know.
so this specifically would just be to create a plan so that it would make the town eligible to apply for future grants. So you would have a plan in hand to look at what can you look at in the future in terms of projects for the park. There's a lot of funding, especially DNR funding. They do a lot of trails, like playground equipment upgrades, but you're not eligible for those grants unless you have your park plan in place.
Okay.
And what we would like to see is maybe in August, we kind of have a kickoff meeting to really sit down and talk about who's on the committee, who's on the park board. Like I said, what events you have coming up that we can attend, and just go through information on what your current parks look like versus what you'd like to see in the future.
Do you have a draft ordinance of what we might?
I do.
use?
Yes, and
Was that already sent to us?
no, it was not.
Okay.
I do have a hard copy of it with me, and I'm happy to email that if you want to have your
Yeah. Just email it
attorney
to
look at
Gloria.
it too.
So, Mike, if we do establish a park board, certainly Kiwanis will have a seat at the table. This master plan that we're looking at would be something big, a possible complete redo of the park area. What can we do with this entire block, I think is what they're going to look at. And the only money we're out right now would be to do the plan. And it's probably going to be 10 grand or less.
So we're thinking, because this is kind of a pilot project for us, we've really started dabbling into it and researching. So
Okay.
we're thinking 1,000 max that you would pay for the creation of this plan. They range from like 10,000 to 50,000, just depending on
Okay.
who's doing it. But that was our thought.
But in order to be eligible for the big money, we have to have a park board.
That is where I really have a problem. Kiwanis gave this park to this community 75 years ago. Or they had an agreement to maintain it for 100 years. The previous board said that they did not honor that. So Kiwanis has worked in good faith for 75 years, and basically you're going to say you didn't do a good enough job, we're taking it away from you.
That's not what we're saying, Russell. This is big, big picture stuff that we're talking about. And if we want to continue to limp along and do 1,000 here, 10,000 there, that's fine. But, and we can stop after we get the plan. I mean-
Like I say, I watched the last board. I didn't like what went on there, and I'm not so much opposed to this grant, but we got a water tower.
We're getting to that. That's next.
Okay, we get the water tower, but we got the water tower, and we've got the water treatment plant. And I'm sorry, those two things take priority to me over the park. I think Kiwanis deserves better. That's my feeling. Nothing against your young lady.
No, and I will say, I think the intent of this would not be to push them out in any way. It would be more to bring them to the table to create a partnership and, see what they would like to see too. I mean, obviously there may be some capacity issues. Obviously they may not be able to do everything that they want to do either, and then just get everybody's feedback. So not saying that it would take them out of the scenario. And then as far as the water project goes, this is something I think we can do concurrently. We have staff on hand. Kylie and I are kind of tag teaming both of these projects. The park plan is going to be a longer timeline, and so that's why we're wanting to start on it now. The water project will be a little quicker, but it's not to say that we can't work on those concurrently.
And a big chunk of the park plan is data gathering
Yes.
information.
Yeah.
Jenny, do you have something to say?
Yes, so when I was in Kiwanis 7 years ago, I helped get the 2 new pieces of equipment out there, and there's not really been any major changes to the park since then. Not because Kiwanis is doing anything wrong, because Kiwanis does a fantastic job, but because the Kiwanis is small and doesn't have the income, doesn't have the money to do it. So the community, I think, deserves a good park, and I don't see this as taking it away from the Kiwanis. It's working in partnership with the Kiwanis to be able to afford to make the changes that our community needs. That's just my take on it.
Playground equipment is big money. I mean, big, big money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So,
Yes, yeah.
anything else?
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I take care of I'm on the park board. I know what the costs are. And another thing that's really rubbed me is the last park board meeting, the president of the park board said that we had to the park board had to put a sign down here claiming this to be the Park and Rec park. we had a discussion over that, so they didn't put a sign up. I feel like
Park Board you're talking about is county?
the county park board, and I feel like, it looks to me like Kiwanis is gonna get ran over. This community building got ran over. It's a sticking point for me. And I'm not, this is not nothing to you girls. I
No,
mean,
you're fine.
And all that you just stated, Russell, was a previous board. That's not how we work, and you know that. So carry on.
So that's really it as far as I have for the park board stuff. Like I said, I will send that draft ordinance if
Okay.
you want to look at having some members assigned to that, and then possibly passing an ordinance at next month's meeting, and we'll be here if you'd like to go through that. And then in August, have a good kickoff meeting to really discuss the process and get input from everybody. This is your town, not ours, so we want to definitely get feedback on what the need is here.
Someone had asked a question prior to the meeting. It says that the members of the board cannot be council, town managers, commissioners. Does that include like county commissioners? Any representative that would be on another board, like a Parks and Rec board in the county or whatever?
Area plan, or do
So
they
I
have
can-
to live in the community? Can they live out in the surrounding, or what?
So I think we're looking at Westport residents for sure. I can get some clarity on if like county people would be okay to include on it. I think they would. I think really the point of it is that DNR doesn't want to see that the same people making decisions at council are the exact same people making decisions for the parks too. They want to see a variety of input, and that's helpful for everybody.
Do you have a number on how many people they're going to want on that board?
So minimum of 3. You can go up to, I think, 5 they had, but they have some structure requirements to where no more than 2 members can be the same political party. And it does say it doesn't apply to towns that have less than 35,000, but they still strongly encourage it. So we felt that the best way to get around that is just to have 3 members, and that way you can meet that criteria regardless.
Okay. Yes, sir?
The purpose of the board, will it be to facilitate the survey of what we need and apply for grants? Or what will their purpose be at that point? Are they going to,
I'll have to look at the ordinance and see what it says. I'll let you review it if you like. I can email it to you. And I mean, it's a nice pocket veto. If we don't want to do it, all we have to do is not pass that ordinance. I still think the information is valuable. You could still use us as a guinea pig to learn the planning process
Sure.
and go ahead and gather the data. And I mean, with the pushback here, I don't see us passing the ordinance next month. It may not be until August, September, or
Okay.
October. I mean, we're going to have to build some consensus here even among the board.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and we're happy to take questions
All right.
offline too, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we can shift this timeline if need be. We were just thinking to give the most time possible, get things started a little early. So this is not set in stone by any means.
okay.
Okay, so that's it on the park plan. I'll let Kylie discuss the timeline for the water project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So as Victoria said, we had a meeting and discussed about the park plan, and then also at this meeting was brought up about doing a water improvement plan. So timeline-wise, round 1 for Okra funding didn't fit, so we looked more here at round 2. So just to kind of run through our timeline here, we would start engineering procurement here next week, and that's to procure for an engineer for the project. So as follows, proposals we'll do scoring, and then for scoring, we'll need a committee of 3 to 5 members to score those proposals to get the engineer for the project. And then we will do a resident survey, and we do that survey and we will put it online, and we can also print it out too for residents. It's great feedback for us for the grant process. It also gets those answers out and comments that, you're not hearing on a daily basis as well. Then we will, let's see here, we'll have public engagement meetings. So that's also a really good thing to have for the grant application because we want as much resident feedback as possible. So we'll hold 2 engagement meetings. Normally we do 11 and 5:30. So it kind of depends on town basis. If you guys have events going on at certain times that like is a more comfortable time for you, we can definitely adjust those times. But we're looking at that the week of September 9th. And then I didn't know, sometimes we plan around community events. Do you guys have any like September community events that, because we can piggyback off of some events too. Okay. We set up, we did one in St. Paul. We set up the Easter egg hunt. So we thought that was a great way to get feedback, and all the parents were there already too. So, okay, well, what date did you say?
6th of September.
Okay, perfect. We'll write that down for that. So we might do that. And then we do all this stuff preliminary before the grant application even opens. So we like to gain that feedback and really see if there's an interest and see what the residents have to say about applying for the grant. So the round doesn't open until September 18th. And then we'll hold a public hearing September 29th, or sorry, October 30th. We'll advertise the 29th. And then the way the application process is, we have to turn in a proposal. So we'll turn in a proposal to Okra, and they'll review our application of just the preliminary stuff and give us feedback on how to make the application better. And we'll also have a site visit. So the site visit will meet with the council president and Okra, and we'll sit down and go through that proposal for the application. So because they like us to have the feedback to make sure the application is the best it can be. Then we'll also have to hold a second public hearing, and that'll be at a council meeting again, December 8th. And then the full application will be due December 19th.
Connie, is Main Street Fall Festival October 4th or the 11th? So we also have a fall festival down here on October 11th. Is that too late to gather input?
I would say for like meeting wise, we probably want to have a lot of our information during that September 6th date that you said.
Okay.
But if we don't get a lot of input and we want some more like survey answers, we can set up a booth or something as well. We like to just get as much as we can as possible. So we'll do whatever.
Who should they coordinate with to participate in the car show on Saturday? We may just set them up right outside. And do you guys do anything right outside in front of the community building at all?
There's usually a couple of groups that set up there, but we can get with Dan Winning.
Okay.
He's the Kiwanis president, and he'll be able to make an area available.
Okay,
I can give you a name and a phone number.
awesome.
We could probably do it right under the edge of the shelter house out there with a table or something, and that way it gets you in the shade and not.
Perfect.
Okay.
Let's see here, if I have anything else. I guess, is it okay, Gloria, if we have the proposals due to you for the engineering proposals? Okay, perfect. So,
So are those done by inside? Any engineer?
for the proposals, yeah. It'll be posted in the newspaper. So we have a list too that we send out to. There's 40, 50 some. Yeah.
We'll solicit too, but then we also put in the paper. All of the town to make sure that anybody that's not on the list we incorporate.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Not at this point. Russell? These are the steps.
I do have a question. So it's the water improvement plan. Are we talking about like drainage or what?
Water, it's the water tower that we're looking at. It needs a maintenance contract, and
Needs $500,000 worth of repairs.
yeah.
Okay, so it's water tower.
Yeah.
This would be
Specifically.
grant funding. So we wouldn't even start the process of purchasing or anything until next year, and that's if we're awarded the funding.
Right.
And the award announcements would be in February, so.
Okay.
I think my last question would be, we like to, just another way to get the survey out. I don't know if you guys, the way you do your water bills, do you do them yourself or do you solicit them out? We can do a like QR code that you can attach in there. That way all the residents will get that as well. I know sometimes being online isn't the easiest, and we can print out some surveys to leave with you too. So, and then do you want us to, we like to send it off beforehand to let you guys look over any questions and if you have
Please.
any suggestions? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. We can do that as well. I think that's all I had. You can go anything.
Obviously, once you are an engineer, that's when we'll have details on the final project and cost and all of that, and be able to where funds are coming from. With Okra, you can get up to $750,000, but that's dependent on your rates, and then also obviously the total project cost.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we have a ordinance up for second reading on the staggered town elections. Alex updated this to account for the fact if there is no election next time. So we have a 5-member board. If 5 people or less file for candidacy, there is no election. So the next 5 people, we have to determine who gets the 4-year term and who gets the 3-year term and who gets the 4-year term. And if there is an election, it's the 3-year term goes to the lowest 2 vote getters, which would be 4th and 5th place. And then places 1, 2, and 3, the top 3 vote getters would be a 4-year term. If there is no election, that triggers the tie clause in case there is a tie. It says in the event of a tie affecting the assignment of term length following an election, i.e. equal vote totals, the affected term length shall likewise be determined by lot conducted by the clerk treasurer in a public meeting of the town council within 10 days following certification of election results. So it's a random draw. The next paragraph says, in the event that only 5 candidates file to run for the 5 at-large town council seats, such that no election is held, and all candidates are deemed elected by operation of law, the 2 council members who shall serve initial 3-year terms, i.e. those filling the seats currently held by Dolores and Jenny, and the 3 council members who shall serve initial 4-year terms, those filling the original 3 seats, shall be determined by lot. The drawing of lots shall be conducted by the clerk treasurer in a public meeting of the town council held within 10 days of the date on which the candidates are deemed elected. So if there's only 5 people that file, there is no election. The 3-year term and 4-year terms is completely determined by chance. Draw names out of a hat. I think, is that how you would do a lot?
That's correct.
Okay.
Question,
Yes, sir.
what if there's only 4 people?
Well, then that gets into an area, one board member is a holdover at that point, and I don't know how we determine that.
Well, if nobody, I'm hypothetical. If no board member wants to hold over, I mean, I think that sounds good. I'm just saying, years ago, we ran into, but they didn't, and the board, the way they solved it, which I'm not saying right or wrong, they chose somebody else to fill in that spot.
Yeah, and you're asking the question, it may be, maybe there's only 3 candidates, and there's 2
Right.
holdover board members, what do you do?
Right.
I'm okay, we've got 2.5 more years to
Yeah,
work
I
on
mean,
this
I'm
and
not
fine
arguing
tune.
But that's by statute. If you have an open seat, there's a statutory
formula on how the board fills that seat.
Okay. But that falls under, that doesn't even fall under this ordinance
Right.
then.
Correct.
That falls under state law,
Okay. In other words, they were doing it right 40 years ago.
probably.
Possibility we're on that board.
Heavens knows. I've only made 2 mistakes in my life.
Well, what this does is clarify
Just kidding, man.
how you determine who gets the
How it's
3-year
the board,
seats and who
yeah.
gets the 4-year seats. When the original ordinance didn't do that, and if there is no election, you have 5 new members that apply, then it's purely by lot. So I'd recommend we go ahead and pass this. Can I get a motion?
I'll give you.
Okay, got a motion from Russell. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, this is second reading on this. So all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. On this 9th day of June. Excuse me, sign. Thank you. So that was ordinance 2025-3. So this will be first reading of ordinance 2025-4, additional appropriations. Whereas it's been determined that it's now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Therefore, be it ordained by the town council of the town of Westport, Indiana, that the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. 2402, community crossings reimbursement. Amount requested $69,196.02. And total for community crossings grant fund, $69,196.02. Next is motor vehicle highway, 2201 MVH operating supplies, amount requested of $18,000. And 2201 MVH professional services, amount requested $11,000, so total for MVH fund, $29,000. Gloria, you want to elaborate on
Sure.
what's going on here a little bit?
Yeah. On the community crossing, we didn't budget any monies in that category this year because we're not doing a community crossing project this year.
Okay.
But we had overlap. In 2023, we had 53,000 and I don't remember the change, but amount that was due back to the state that was not spent on the 2023 community crossing project. And they finally finished up their closing paperwork and asked for that money back in February. So I had to go ahead and cut them a check to reimburse them. And then we still have about 15,000 or whatever that remainder is that totals the 69,000 altogether.
Okay.
And that is for last year's 2024 project. And I would like to hope that they will finish the paperwork a little quicker
Right.
and we'll get that
Right.
returned to them before the end of the year. It's grant money that we weren't able to spend, so
Okay.
it goes back to the state. Seems a little silly that I have to get permission from the state to give them their money back, but that's the case.
Okay.
On the motor vehicle highway, we're overspent by 13,000 in the operating. Part of that was my mistake because I was supposed to budget 10,000, but I missed a zero on the budget and I budgeted 1,000, not 10,000, so we're short in that fund. So I knew that was coming this year anyway. But we have spent a little more this year, so to budget for the entire year, I asked for 18,000. And then the professional services is also an overlap of the engineering fees that we paid for community crossing. We're not allowed to pay for that out of the community crossing. We pay for it out of motor vehicle highway. And their last part of their agreement came, it was 30,000 total. And I think like 12,000 of it or so came out this year. So I had to ask for money to cover that difference.
Okay. Did that go to FPBH?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Gloria? So this is, we approve first reading. Can I make get a motion to approve on first
I make
reading?
a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Dolores. All those in favor of approving for first reading signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, this will come back next month for second reading and final approval. Okay, Damon, you're on, sir.
Good evening. To add to Rachel's update, Striegel is in town working this weekend. They have asked to close Washington Street Wednesday to make the connection of the two pipes there at the, where it makes a turn, crosses under Washington Street. So all the residents on Washington Street you will be able to get out.
If it doesn't rain.
If it don't rain, I've got enough there lately anyway. But they all will be able to get out on the west side of Washington, just the intersection of Washington and West to be closed. So I did give them permission to do that. We do have money budgeted this year for a storm drain. So I would like to ask permission to use some of that to have the storm drain project, to go ahead and do that on Shady Lane. The contractor's cost is $12,450. There will be some additional cost with us supplying the storm drains and the basins, which is approximately $2,400. And we currently have drain pipes going across our property on the north end of Shady Lane, but we don't have an easement. I think it's in the best interest of the town to get an easement to go across that property. So that will be a small additional fee. Because I guess back in the day, it was just kind of a gentleman's agreement and a handshake. I think it'd be best if we obtain an easement in case something ever happens to that property or it ever sells. And that those people are still okay with us doing it. I just think it's best if we get an easement to do it since we're putting in new pipe. So that will be additional fee. And I'll have to get with Alex to see what he would charge to do that. But, so I'd like to get permission to go ahead and use some of that budgeted money to do that street there, if I could.
Okay.
Got a very bad water problem.
Yeah, that's one area we do have a place to drain it. We just need to put in basins and pipe to get rid of it.
So the next thing on our radar, we're going to have to do something about Wiley Street.
But the problem with Wiley Street is we just have nowhere to go with it. We don't have an issue doing it. We just have nowhere to drain it.
Yeah.
And
This rain exacerbated everything that happened this weekend, so.
Yeah, I don't have an issue doing Wiley Street. It's just, where do we take it? I mean, we could, to get it out to the highway and down there, it's going to be astronomical. I mean, I can have somebody come in and give us a price of, piping it that far, but it's going to be, the price is going to be huge. So I'll be more than glad to get on it and get a price of doing that.
We just don't want it to fall off the radar screen.
No, well, we have plans of doing it the way we was going to do it. Then that property has sold, and unfortunately we can't go that way now. At the time, right now we can't, but maybe in the future we can. But
right.
But anyway, I'd like to move forward. Get permission to move forward with this project if I can.
Would you like a motion?
Yes,
on the $12,450 for storm drainage on Shady Lane?
Motion.
12,450 plus 2,400?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Plus an easement, which could be.
Plus
Yeah,
an
plus
easement.
the easement.
Is 2,400 materials?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, it'd be less than 3,000.
Yeah, those are approximate, I guess,
That's-
$300 a basin. He was supposed to, utility supply was supposed to come back with me today with an estimate, and he didn't. So I was going off the last ones we put in for Lincoln Street. And they were-
Russell, did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Anybody
will
want
second.
second from Jenny? Okay. All those in favor of the 12,450 and 2,400 for the Shady Lane drainage improvements signify by saying aye, please. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Next thing I got is the oldest building out at the sewer is needing painted. It is starting to rust a lot. I did get estimates on, or an estimate on getting that building painted through Sears Painting. I spoke with Gloria. We do have the money to do that. It was $38.55 for the entire building. That would just be one color. I didn't see any purpose of getting fancy with it and doing the trim a different color. I mean, it's back at the sewer, so, but if we don't get it painted, we're gonna end up replacing metal, so.
Did you say 3855?
38.55, yes, correct. Or, sorry, 38.55.60, 60 cents. Make sure I get that in there. Like permission to move forward with that as well.
I'll make that motion. Somebody give me a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you.
I think that's all I have. Does anybody have anything for me?
I mean, out of the water.
Yeah.
On the bottom block of East High Street, there's a drainage problem there on the north side. Water stands in the yard for a long time after rain. And, you know, it's to the point where, it's got the four doors in the house, leaking and all. I'm having to work on the whole backside house to put the four doors in the water. Huge water standing in the yard after rain. I was up for no storage drain. The storage drain, the alley comes down onto Camp Street. There's a pipe on the other side of the road that runs to the drain. And the neighbors on the corner into the drive. It's a city drain, sure. And as far as any other drains on our block and 500 block on the north side, I don't think there is any.
I don't think we have too many up. What's your exact address?
504.
504. I don't know of too many storm drains we have on Shot Street.
There's been a real problem with the house.
Yeah, I'll look and see if there's what's up there, but I don't know of too many we have on that side of town because there's nowhere there for it to go. But what's that? Yeah, well, we started milling roads now before we pave them, so we didn't get rid of that problem. But yeah, I'll look and see what's up there. I don't know exactly where you're at, but I'll take a look at it and see if there is a city drain up there. But I don't know of too many in the area that we.
None on the block other than like where our neighbor on the corner shot into your house and your garage. There's a place there that I don't know if it's drained or not, if that would bar across it, but if it is, it's going to, even with the one across from Galvin, it's just quite I dug maybe 10 foot into it, I believe that out a few years ago, but I never did get that.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
On the other ridge one,
Okay, hang on. Yeah, I'd like to dismiss Damon and then have you come to the microphone if you wouldn't mind. Okay? So we're now in the public input portion of the meeting. I'd like everybody to limit their comments to 3 minutes, if you could, please. And could you give me your name?
Paul Sparks.
Okay, you said you had something else you wanted to talk about too?
Yes, the cleanup of our yard. It was kind of messy. I've been trying to get is Munburn set for repairing the house.
Did you get a letter from the town?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
And we did get fined. I tried cleaning it up. I guess I didn't get it done within the 10-day period, but there's a lot of rain during that time too. And, you know, I've done the best I could do on us. I wonder if we can maybe get a break on some of the fine or something.
Do you know where we're at on that, Gloria?
I don't have any of that with me, so I
Oh,
apologize.
okay.
I don't know.
That's fine.
But
would you?
It's
Where are you at?
504 East Shot Street.
510 days that we had to clean it up, and then my brother died, and I had to go to Illinois, so I could not, another one in the hospital, and it raining crap.
Okay, well, so I've got office hours down at the town hall tomorrow. We'll pull the letter and take a look. At least you're here, you're talking to us. Let's take a look at that. And you're welcome to come down. I'm only going to be there till 9:30 tomorrow, from 8 to 9:30. Yeah, you don't have to come down, but if you do come down during that time, we'll get the letter out, we'll look at it. And if you need more time or some, an extension, okay. At least you're here. So we'll work with you, okay? We'll figure something out.
I am more than willing to work with anybody. And I have been out to the high school. I have brought in kids to help with cleaning up property. And all you gotta do is call. Well, you call the town hall and they gladly get a hold of me. They just rip my phone off. Yeah, but I'm serious. We've worked with several different people. And believe me, just don't think you're the only one.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not.
And actually, thank you for coming.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
A lot of rain here.
you made the effort, you came, you talked to us.
Yeah,
We will
that's-
figure something out, okay? All right. Anybody else? Input from the floor. This is your time. Walter, come on up.
I knew you'd be here.
The only thing I want to complain about is the bridge down there on the lower end of my property. It's all packed underneath there now.
Is this what goes back to where Terry
Yep.
Green used to live?
Yep. It's all packed underneath there now. Now, I know it's not Westport's problem.
Well,
But-
go ahead.
It's not my problem either. So can you guys give county a call and say,
Absolutely,
we need to
I
get
think
this
we
cleaned
can.
out? Or
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that bridge, if they clean that out, it would help all that other stuff going down through there too.
Yeah. The other thing is that later this fall, the bridge on Main Street is scheduled to be updated. September. But that's upstream of you. If,
No, that don't run into my creek. Mine comes from Litz. Huh?
yeah, the one on Main Street.
Oh, that's the one?
Yeah.
Well, that's even gonna create more problems.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Because that's gonna open it up, it's gonna be wide open now.
Exactly. So,
I already had lakefront property. It was only, waist deep at my garage, so.
but certainly, we can call the county about the one, I think, is that an extension of Poplar Street? Down through there? Okay.
I mean, they're gonna have to go underneath that bridge and cut some stuff out and pull it out.
Okay.
I mean, I'd do it, but I can't get down there anymore.
No, we can, let's see what we can do, and
If
we
you
can
get
call
all
the
the
county
county and say,
too.
we got an issue here. And that bridge created a lot of problems. Because before they replaced it and made it lower and smaller, it didn't back up nearly as much. So
Okay,
that's the only thing I'm gonna complain about.
okay, all right.
I give y'all a break.
Thanks, Walter. Okay. Anybody else? Going once,
I ain't gonna get no answer there.
going twice.
I just quit.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Got a motion from Jenny, second from
A
Glenn.
second,
Whatever.
All those
whoever.
in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye, please. Aye.
Please.
All opposed?
Ha-ha.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just, I don't know who meant to do that.